Thank you. Nice to meet everybody. It's not normal at a tech conference that you're the second flower company in a row to present, so bear with me, and I guess you're all educated on the market already. We have a slightly different take on flowers, though. I guess the way we think about it is in the context of the gifting market. As humans, we spend about $700 billion a year, every year on gifting, which is a huge amount. And within that, flowers are here to stay. We've gifted flowers all the way back to the times of ancient Greece. Athenians established the idea of red roses meaning love, of white meaning sympathy, so I'm confident that flowers are not a fad. But I guess, like Whitney said, where is the flower company that we all really love and that we rave about? And who's going to use the unique combination of tech and data, brand and floristry, and logistics and supply to create a global leader? You won't be surprised to hear that I think the solution is Bloom & Wild. And we have a few reasons why. Firstly, and I guess what we're most known for when we launched in the UK back in 2013 was that we invented the concept of doing flowers through the letterbox, which is what the first image shows. This is unique because it allows the flowers to be sent without the recipient needing to be home, and it gives the recipient the joy of arranging flowers themselves. You can see in the second picture what the flowers look like on arrival. We have gone a huge distance above and beyond what our mainstream competitors do to introduce care and attention to detail into the flower gifting process. And this results in extraordinary advocacy, which I'll talk about in a bit. We also invest a huge amount into our floristry and trying to be a fast fashion company for flowers. Most mainstream flower companies will sell the same arrangements year after year, and in doing so, it's just not that exciting for consumers. We introduce new collections multiple times a year and follow the latest fashion and trends. As part of that, going across the bottom, we also do a number of collaborations a year with other leading brands and influencers in other verticals, as evidenced by our Liberty print boxes from our recent collaboration with Liberty London. Like most disruptors to the flower industry, we source our flowers direct from growers, which means that you get the freshest flowers that you can. Our flowers go through as few middlemen as possible, and we certainly avoid fulfillment via stores, which means extra cost and also flowers being less fresh. And finally, we've invested a huge amount into technology and data, and we see ourselves as a tech company just as much as a flower company. About a third of our team is in engineering, data, and product. And we have not only created a super simple mobile-first interface on the front end, but also behind the scenes heavily use AI and data to drive efficiency and personalization. Our vision is a simple one, which is to make sending and receiving flowers the joy that it should be, but which we don't think it is consistently. And our goal with this is to become the world's leading and most loved flower gifting company, a mission which I think we're well on our way to meeting. Second flower market page in 10 minutes. Luckily, they're consistent. The global flower market, we think, is worth around £40 billion, of which Europe is about a third of that. Our current focus is on Europe. We are present so far in UK, France, Germany, and Ireland, which represent about half of that. And we have a model that's very easy to roll out country by country whenever we're ready to do so. The other attractive thing about the flower market is that it's heavily online. The UK flower gifting market is already well over 50% online, and we see similar trends in Germany and France. So we see this as an industry where the winner can very clearly be an online-first brand. In terms of how we think about the competitive landscape and why Bloom & Wild is poised to win, there are a lot of flower companies out there that are delivering innovative models. There are very few that are building mass scale. By mass scale, let's call it 1 million+ deliveries a year. I'll share a little more data about where we are at the moment. In Europe, there's only Bloom & Wild doing this. There's Interflora and its equivalent in other countries. And there's Marks & Spencer, which is the other significant player in the UK online flower business. So we think that we're, of these players, the only one that's building an international business at scale that can turn into a multi-hundred million pound or euro company. We also focus very heavily on gifting. There are a number of subscription or self-purchase players out there who I think execute nicely, but who I don't think will be able to build mass scale because of just the amount of cost the amount that it costs to have a flower subscription into your home every couple of weeks is hundreds of pounds or euros a year, which I think rules out the vast majority of population of European countries, whereas gifting a couple of times a year is something that many people do. We've also recently become omni-channel. We announced a partnership with Ocado, which is the UK's leading online grocery platform, and that's our first foray into building a presence through retail channels as well as D2C, which we think is really important as we look to scale. And then further to the right, we do, I think, all of the best things that others do in terms of a focus on tech, specialization in flowers, and building unique supply. Where this has got us is a customer base of well over 1 million users. We expect that to double to the 2 million user range in 2021. We did over 1 million deliveries last year. We'll do in the region of 2 million deliveries this year, and that number is also growing fast. Deloitte recently ranked us as the 5th fastest growing company in Europe. So we really see strong traction and the ability to build at huge scale. Perhaps as important, if not more important than our traction, is our customer advocacy. We have a Net Promoter Score of close to 90, which is unheard of, especially in an industry where you're sending a perishable product, and which really puts us above and beyond others in our space in terms of advocacy and reviews. We're in a strong financial position. We've raised money a few times as well, most recently a £15 million round led by Piper, who are a UK-based brand-focused investor. They led a round into our business last September. So we've raised a little over £22 million to date, and we're sitting on plenty of cash. We also have really strong unit economics, especially in our core UK business. We are profitable in a customer's first order, which puts us in a really strong position for scaling. And then we are at break-even overall in our UK business after all central costs, which again puts us in a really strong position. That's driven by a very strong retention system, and now 2/3 of our orders coming from returning customers across a large-scale customer base. There's lots more that we can do with Bloom & Wild beyond where we are now. At the moment, as I've said, we've focused on gifting. There's the whole world of corporate, of self-purchase that we've not really gone after. We're only really we're only present in 4 countries at the moment, but we have a model that can be repeated for expansion across Europe and then beyond, such as the US or Asia. We, in addition, are starting, as I mentioned, have launched with Ocado, which we see as our first step into retail, but we see a lot of opportunity in all our markets to build out a retail business to complement our direct-to-consumer business. There's the opportunity for new product lines. We're best known so far for doing mini Christmas trees, again through the letterbox, which we sell a huge number of without giving too much away each Christmas, but there's a lot of opportunity to build out other products that are adjacent to flowers and cross-sell to our existing customer base, and then also to introduce new services, so workshops, which we've started to experiment with, weddings, even funerals. So all in all, we think that we're making great progress, but we're just at the beginning of building the world's leading and most loved flower gifting company. Thank you.